All right, man. Full gear.
Full gear, man.
What a good show. It was a good show from top to bottom. A lot of interesting stuff happened that we're for sure going to talk about. But yeah, man, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. What about you, man?
I really did like it. There were a lot of highs. I feel like there weren't really any lows for me. Like there were things that were just kind of like okay. There's a thing that I might have a very unpopular opinion on, but like it was a very good show. I think if I had to give it a rating off top, I'd say like an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5. Okay,
Yeah.
I would say I'm more around an eight, around a solid eight.
Okay.
Yeah, so between 7.5 and eight, around there.
Yeah. I mean, it's good, right? A lot of people are going to freak out. Oh, 8.5, 8. I mean, no, it's you guys are fine. Like that, those are very good scores.
It's like you guys know five is average, right?
Yeah. I don't know how things are in school, but 80 to 85 was a B, right? That's passing. You can get AB honor roll with an 80. This is pretty good.
Yeah. So, oh man, yeah, there was a lot of good stuff. Some some interesting story stuff coming up too that we
Oh,
saw, going on, this pay per view. There was a lot. So,
we will be talking about that on this episode of Off the Top Rope.
ooh,
Oh,
just
first,
slid that in there. Bam.
boom, right there, got it. But first, before we get into it, y'all know what we gotta do. We see we've been getting a couple new subscribers. First off, thank y'all for coming. Like, it's really appreciated. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. Hopefully we can continue to help you out. If you're not following us already, follow us on Blue Sky and I guess Twitter too. But Blue Sky at TAGPW Podcast. You can see us. You can see us running around. You can see us talking about Full Gear. See us talking about whatever going on in wrestling. Talking about the Continental Classic because we still don't have the damn bracket, and I'm waiting for it, and I'm freaking out. But anyway, you will be able to follow us, see all of our takes on Blue Sky and Twitter at TAGPW Podcast. Also, if you can't watch the video, if you gotta go in the car, you gotta run some errands, do things like that, you can listen to us on Podbean and Spotify. If you look up THGPW or look up Off the Top Rope Podcast, you'll be able to find us. It's also in the description here. If you're on YouTube already and you can't search it, it'll be down there also.
Yeah. It's gonna be it's good stuff. So we got you. Whichever angle you want to listen to us, we got you 100%.
Mm-hmm. But if they want to watch us, how could they do that, Profit?
So, if they want to watch us, go to our YouTube page. Of course, come on, man, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
But since you're already here, we it would be it would help us out a lot if you hit the subscribe button and the bell so you could get more of our podcast and more of the things that we talk about, because we don't just talk about wrestling. Wrestling is the flagship, though. We also talk about anime and games. So subscribe, hit the bell button, and yeah, get that content whenever we bring it out.
Oh, yeah.
So without further ado, let's talk about the show.
The first thing we got to talk about, off top, we got to talk about that main event, and mainly the main event angle that we have going into the next month or so.
Yeah, it's that man. Ooh, the way that ended last night after the world championship match, it spread out into like four different ways.
For those who don't know, we'll do a very quick explanation.
Yep.
Moxley won main event. Main event was pretty good. Nothing like super crazy. It was kind of what you expected. There throughout the show, there wasn't really like any interference except for like barely any until the main event. So you got to see like a lot of like shenanigans a little bit in the main event, but every other match was pretty cut, dry, and clean. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
we get into this. Orange Cassidy ends up losing. Moxley wins. We still don't really see the title. Even during the thing when they had to hold up the title, you know how they do at the end, or at the beginning before a match starts. Instead of that, it was Marina just handed the briefcase over, and I think it was Bryce. Bryce was like, "Huh? All right, whatever." Puts that up, does what he's gonna do. After the match, we see Orange Cassidy's about to start getting stomped out by everyone involved with the Death Riders.
Yeah.
Until probably the most shocking part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Hangman Adam Page runs out, and low key, people are taking this a lot of different ways, right? The Hangman has done nothing wrong crowd is saying, "Oh, Hangman is doing he's good again. He's trying to find himself," right? And then the everyone else basically is like, Hangman did this, but then Christian Cage slides out and tries to sign the contract to beat Moxley, which we didn't even expect, right? We thought that Christian was gonna like fall back until Moxley was done.
Mm-hmm.
Not the case.
Nope.
But that didn't matter because Jay White ran out there. Babyface Jay White made the save to stop Christian from signing the contract.
Yeah.
So a brawl is ensuing. Like, people are going crazy. Like, people are trying to fight everywhere. Moxley, Marina, and the Death Riders are rolling out. They're gone. Like, they're trying to leave the arena. As they get outside, because we see them, like, kind of going, they're trying to get into their little truck that they get in, you know, the little Death Riders truck. It's cute, whatever. A car hits the truck.
You already know who it is.
You already know who it is. I will say who it is after, but you already know who it is. Who else is crazy enough to hit a car with their own car? Anyway, the Death Riders like, oh shit, what's going on? So they steal somebody's car from valet and drive off. And then who gets out of the car that hit the truck? Of course it was Darby Allin. And Darby's like, let's finish this right now. He's bleeding because he hit that car. And I'm assuming because it's Darby, that Darby was actually driving and actually hit the car himself.
Oh yes, it was him. They confirmed it. It was not a stuntman. It was Darby Allin that ran and crashed into that car.
It looked like he was going like 15, 20 miles also, by the way. Like he like bam. So Darby gets out of the car. He has a skateboard. He's like, I want to finish this right now. Let's finish this right now. And then like he gets on top of the truck. He's like wobbling and shaking. And like there's people like, Darby, calm down. And he's like hitting the truck with the skateboard. And Darby's like freaking out. And that's how the show ends.
Yeah.
Did I miss something? I don't think I missed anything.
So during the brawl, there was quite a few people that came out, right?
Uh-huh.
So like the brawl that ensued at the end. First, the conglomeration came out.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
no. Oh, it wasn't at the end of the match. It was during the match. So it was before some interference happened, right? Like, so Death Riders started jumping in. They were about to get involved in the match. Conglomeration comes out. They fight the Death Riders into the stands. Then Marina Shafir comes in. Willow pops out.
Our only return of the night.
Yeah, the only return of the night. Willow pops out, so we of course can't miss Willow. She comes out and she starts fighting Marina Shafir, and then that's what left the opening for the end of the match because Orange Cassidy hit Moxley with the briefcase and tried to pin him, and then Moxley, by the grace of God and channeling his inner Tyson Fury, kicked out.
Kicked right out.
He kicked out. He ends up hitting. I think he ends up hitting Orange Cassidy with the the suitcase also. It was either that or there was an interference. I cloudy on that part. But then he hits him with the Death Rider, and then that's it. He pins Orange Cassidy,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the end of the match. But yeah, we also had Willow pop out, which was cool. But man, let's talk about some of the things that happened.
God, which part? We had like 20 things going on.
So let's start with Hangman.
Mm.
When Hangman slid in there, and he got in Moxley's face, Moxley did not want no piece of Hangman. Moxley was like, "Ooh, yeah, no, fuck this, I'm out."
I mean, Hangman did beat Moxley in Texas Death. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, man, like usually Moxley is like he doesn't care. He's like he'll fight anybody. Hangman slid in the ring. He's like, yeah, even a Hangman, an injured Hangman with the limping on his leg. He's like, no, fuck this. I don't want no piece of that. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And that I thought that right there was like really telling. It was like it feels like made it feel like Moxley is like mainly picking on the weaker wrestlers, right? To go against who he perceives as the weak ones in the locker room.
It's possible.
Because like as soon as like the upper guys started coming in, he's like, nah, nope. I'm walking. I'm getting out of here.
I mean,
Um,
Orange Cassidy did beat Moxley last year though, so like it's weird. Like I really don't understand how Moxley is picking and choosing on who he's getting, right. Like he's for sure he attacked Private Party for sure, right? They did their thing. They did that stuff, but they also attacked Danielson too. You know what I mean? Like it feels like right now to me there isn't a lot of rhyme or reason. But the main thing that he's doing right now, for sure, is targeting people who have not really been, other than Orange Cassidy, been like champions for real in AEW.
yeah, because like one of them won earlier in the night, also, right? Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
Daniel Garcia was also one of those ones that hadn't got a title yet, and you know he got involved with the Death Riders, and he's now a champion. We'll talk about that later,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, man, like he didn't want no piece of that, and the fact that when Christian Cage came in the ring and then hit him with hit him with
The kill switch.
the kill switch, I was like, you know what? This was actually perfect because everybody was spread out. There was nobody that could stop him. Right?
Yeah.
Like there was literally no one there that could stop him. Other than Hangman taking his sweet ass time giving him the contract.
It felt like this is what I was talking about earlier with like the there are people you know the two camps. If you're on social media, you will see them. One of the camps are the people that say Hangman has done nothing wrong, which at this point kind of can't say that. Like sure, whatever, but he's burned down someone's house. He actively has been attacking people. Like done nothing wrong is kind of a stretch at this point, but they are now screaming that Hangman he has a sense of morality. He's trying to come back. Our guy's still in there, and he could be. He most likely is for sure. But if you look at it from like top down, he went out there and helped Christian. Like he went up there to distract. He got rid of the rest of the Death Riders with the chair. And then, Moxley like you said was freaked out. But he was in there and he was gonna help Christian. Granted, he did hold on to the contract for a little bit longer than he should have if he really wanted to help Christian. But, that's probably the main reason he was in there. Sure, his morality's in there somewhere. Sure, the good guy might come out eventually. But right now, that guy is gone. I need you. Hangman has done nothing wrong. People to accept that.
Yeah, and the reason we can break down a couple of reasons. Like one of the reasons is like we can also go like he wasn't really there to help Christian Cage at all.
It's possible.
He was probably there to call his own shot because at the very end of it, Moxley was calling everybody out. Right? Who wants a piece of this next? Whoever wants a piece of the title, come get it.
Which is crazy because Hangman had lost earlier in the night.
Right.
Like that's not Hangman's place right now. If anyone has like a shot, if anyone has like some kind of like claim to that title right now via merit, it's Jay White.
Right. But you also got to look at it too, like Heyman's current mindset. He doesn't really care. Right? He went out there under a selfish reason. It wasn't a righteous reason. It was a selfish reason.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to get a world. Yeah, he wanted to get a world title shot himself. So he was probably going to fuck up Moxley anyway. he was going. Oh, you calling people out? Oh, well, I'm here and I'm going to mess you up, which scared Moxley, of course. But the thing that got Hangman to let go of that contract, Christian said, "I'll give you the first shot." That's when he let go. He was holding on the whole time. Christian's like, come on, I'll give you the first shot. And then he let go of the title and then walked out of the ring. Right?
Selfish Hangman.
So yeah, so it wasn't a righteous reason, it was a selfish reason.
But I'm telling you what the Hangman has seen. Hangman has done nothing wrong. People are saying they're saying like, oh, they're not talking about that part. They're not talking about the fact that he might just want the world title. Like they're just talking about, oh, he saved Orange Cassidy. Like no, he really, like that might have been a byproduct of what he did, but he definitely didn't go out there to save Orange Cassidy, for sure not.
Oh yeah, no, he was. So at that point when he came out there, Moxley was at his most vulnerable. There was no Marina Shafir. There was no Death Riders anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They were all gone. It was just Moxley and Orange Cassidy in the ring. That was it, right? The Death Riders were gone. So Hangman was going in there. He had a chair. He was literally about to beat the shit out of Moxley. And then call his shot. That's what I feel like was going to happen. He was going to call his shot. He was going to beat the crap out of Moxley, call his shot. The byproduct would have been he saved Orange Cassidy, but he didn't really care about saving Orange Cassidy. He cared about calling his shot. He was taking his selfish reason.
Exactly.
Which was getting that AEW World Championship. But the byproduct of that set up for Christian to come in, hit him with the kill switch. And then, the other part, which was he held onto the contract until Christian was like, all right. I'll give you the first shot. He's like, oh, okay. You feed into my selfish reason. Sure, take it. Pin him and get the win, and you're next. Pretty much. And then a wild Jay White comes out and then fucks up Christian. So
I mean, Jay White has made it very known that he had two people coming after since he came back from injury. One was Hangman, the other one was Christian.
Yes.
Hangman kind of fucked up his stuff with Christian. Like he beat Hangman already, then he had the match with Christian, and then Hangman came in there and messed it up, causing Jay White to lose the match. But Jay White has some problems too. Plus, like I said, if there's anyone who has a shot via merit right now, it's Jay White.
Yes.
If there is a pseudo number one contender, which at this point is probably going to be a 4-way at World's End, but if there is a number one contender, it should be Jay White.
Yep. And I also feel, so just to kind of say what happened to Jay White after that, right? Jay White is in the ring after he hit Christian with the Blade Runner. The Death Riders finally came back, and then they start beating up Jay White.
Mm-hmm.
And got Moxley out the ring. Well, they didn't really give him a thorough beat down, but they enough to get him the hell away from Moxley, right?
It was just straight evacuation, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, okay, get him out of here. But in my eyes, I'm like, ooh, we're about to have Death Riders and the rest of the Bang Bang gang. So Juice and all the because that trios championship. There's three guys on the Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club Gold.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, they'll have much to do. So if they're going to be messing with the Death Riders, they got almost equal numbers.
You got to add on top of that too. It's not just Bullet Club Gold right now. The conglomeration is also out there too. Because the one thing you mentioned, Willow, but we finally have someone that went at Marina Shafir, and it was Willow Nightingale.
Yes.
So we finally have a great equalizer because look, the men couldn't do it. Marina was beating the shit out of every man. Like it did not matter who was in front of her. Marina was gonna beat them up. It did not matter. Willow, she gonna have a problem with Willow.
Yeah, you get the best baby face in pro wrestling. Willow Nightingale on your ass. No, Marina, you might have a problem.
So we have all these forces coming not only around the Death Riders, but also around all the titles that they're holding. The World Championship and the Trios Championship. There's a lot of chaos right now in the world title scene, and that's the one everyone's talking about. The world title scene has a lot of chaos. So does the Trios Championship scene. A lot of chaos in there right now, which is so enjoying to see.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to see. Like, man, yeah, there was so much packed into that last bit, and now that I remember, it was Wheeler Yuta that came in and did the knee to Orange Cassidy to get Moxley to do they enabled Moxley to do the Death Rider and win the match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there you go. So,
yeah, he did the Psycho knee. Like he's been doing a bunch of Danielson stuff lately, but that's what he did to basically help Mox. Because at this point, Mox is like the only like heel in this, at least in this pay per view, that had to cheat to beat his opponent. Everyone else, they might have done like a little thing here and there, but they didn't have any like outside interference. Everyone else was able to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Moxley might not have like a greater grip on that title as we think.
No. Like Orange Cassidy was taking it to him.
He jumped him immediately.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, like that was man, that whole ending was great. It has me ready to watch Wednesday.
Bro, I'm
already ready for Dynamite.
We didn't even talk about the Darby side of things too, because Darby hopped in and did his thing at the end, where he hit the truck to make them run away. But like, Darby's also like in this somewhere. As much as I prefer him not being super close involved, but we got some people right now involved in this world title scene.
Yeah. If you look at it, more than likely, Darby's going to be the one that ultimately wins it.
Yeah, probably. I have a very unpopular opinion on that, but I will hold off right now. I'm going to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things can change, though. Like, things always change, so.
Mm-hmm.
It's pro wrestling. Things change at the drop of a dime, so. It could be Darby now, but like it could be like Jay White like next week, right?
All I'm saying is that Darby is bare minimum. Darby is due for a title shot. Well, no, he's not due for a title shot because his dumbass decided to put his title shot on the line against Moxley to begin with. This is Darby's fault if we're really thinking about it, because Moxley didn't really have a shot at the title until Darby was like, you know what, you're attacking me, fine, I'm gonna put my shot on the line, and then he got destroyed.
Yeah, he got annihilated.
So this is all Darby's fault.
He forgot. When Mox is dialed in, you don't challenge him. Like, just get away from him.
Yeah.
You don't want that? No. That guy's a fucking animal.
Yeah, you have any other thoughts on the main event and the follow-up to the main event?
No, I just the main thing I want to say is like there was a lot of stuff that happened. It was all cool to see like AEW building like a really big storyline. Like this is like you know, people in the beginning probably thought it was going to be like the shallow thing where they get some answers. No, they built it even more. They put a whole bunch of stuff and built the storyline even more. And there's stories within those stories that are happening at the same time. So it's really cool to see.
Oh God, we didn't even talk about that either. Like we literally got no answers. Like nothing. I didn't even think about that either. We still didn't see the world title. They had to hold up the briefcase. Like
Yep.
we saw nothing. And Moxley didn't explain himself. He said, "Y'all want me? Come get me." And all hell broke loose after that.
Yep. Shit just went down after that.
But yeah, we have a. We might circle back to the main event at some point because it's hard not to talk about how crazy that was. But now we have two matches that we can talk about.
Okay.
We can either talk about Mercedes and Chris next, or we can talk about Osprey Fletcher next. Which one are you looking at?
Oh, I'm always. You already know Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné.
Bro. So
Yes.
for those who don't know, at this point, if you haven't noticed, we were just watching the show. I didn't take notes. I'm pretty sure you didn't get to take notes either.
Oh, hell no.
No. So this is off the top from the day after Fullgear. Today is Sunday. We're still actively waiting for Continental Classic brackets, which it's still don't have them. But so I'm not going to be going fully into the match. I will try to tell the story of the match a little bit more, but moves and things like that, I'm going to space on some. So Proffitt, definitely feel free to like jump in here and mingle it up to get us a full story. But to start, before we even get into the match, we have to talk about a backstage segment that I actually got to see, surprisingly enough, because I didn't get to watch a lot of the buy-in. Mercedes and Camille are walking in. Mercedes basically says, "Stay back here. Don't even bother coming out. I don't need you. Sit back. Go sit down in catering." Right? So a lot of people expected, myself included, either Camille was going to come out and do something to mess with Mercedes, or we're going to get like a debut or something was going to happen. Which I'm happy we were all wrong, because that would have cheapened this match, because this match has potential to be the match of the night. If this is your match of the night, I do not blame you, because this match was amazing. Mercedes and Chris come out. They do their thing. Main part of this was Mercedes was getting more and more frustrated whenever Chris Statlander was able to get out of things. Chris was probably Mercedes' toughest opponent-ish. I still think it was Willow. Willow kind of gave her a run also, but you can see Chris Statlander probably being her toughest opponent. Mercedes had to do a lot of things in this match. She never really cheated. She tried to like grab the rope and cheat at one point. Didn't really work. Aubrey caught her immediately. But Mercedes was working. She put move after move after move on Chris, and it just was not working. Even to the point where like Chris's knee looked like it got hurt. And we don't know. I'm guessing it wasn't like legit, but Chris was basically wrestling on like a leg. Mercedes was still getting like, she couldn't really do anything to beat Stat. She was working hard and harder and harder. Chris was able to go in and do the things that she needed to do. Like she hit Saturday Night Fever really nicely. There was a point where Stat did her flips, where she did like the senton and then the standing shooting star, which looked amazing. But all in all, it didn't matter. As much as Chris tried to do and as much as Mercedes tried to do, also while being frustrated throughout this whole match, Mercedes ends up winning without the help of anybody. Nobody comes out to help her. As frustrated as she was, she worked her ass off and beat Chris Statlander straight up in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, man, because Chris Statlander, like, I'd almost likened it to, like, she was coming at her like the Terminator, man.
Oh, bro, yeah.
Like, anything fucking Mercedes did, Chris Statlander would fuck her up. Like, it would just... no matter what, like, Chris Statlander had pretty much had a powerful answer to it. Like, there was a few times where Chris Statlander was, like, almost kind of ragdolling Mercedes. Like, she was deadlifting her, like, from like, kneeling, right? And like picking her up, tossing her, doing things like that. Like, but her ultimate downfall, Chris Statlander's downfall, is she keeps using the move that she never hits, which is the 450 splash.
God, that for like even when she went up there, because at this point Mercedes had already been targeting one of her knees. I forget which one. I think it was like the right knee. Doesn't really matter at this point though. But Mercedes has been targeting her knee to the point where like Mercedes was like beat at it at points to try to get out of moves and things like that. So when she started going up, I was like, Stat, you probably should not hit this 450. You should. This is a bad idea. This is like Naito hitting his star press that he always tries to do, but he can't hit it in big matches. Just don't do it. And then, like you said, she missed.
Yep, she missed and paid for it. And oh man, but it was beautiful 450 though.
She has one of the nicest 450s in the game. I'm not gonna lie. Like hers looks almost as effortless as Ricochet's does. Like it looked fantastic.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it was there was a lot of interesting stuff. Like there was the Mercedes beating on the knee and things like that. There was a lot of times when Stat was like trying to pin but couldn't get a full pin because she couldn't distribute her weight enough.
Yeah.
There was times when Stat was hitting moves, and because her knee was messed up, from Mercedes beating on it, she couldn't fully hit the move, or she shift her weight and couldn't fully hit the move. It was really cool to see, like, her selling that leg, like, as it was like taking more and more damage.
Mm-hmm.
She would get the adrenaline and hit a big move, but she couldn't do anything after that because the pain, right?
Yeah, it was hard for her to follow up on mostly anything. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the main story, because for the most part, if it wasn't for her knee, her taking all that damage to her knee, Chris Statlander would have won, like hands down. She was coming at Mercedes like that. She was on her A game, even with an injury, right? But yeah, Mercedes ultimately pulled it out, like at the end. And it was one of Chris Statlander's mistakes. And she turned it into the moneymaker, and boom, got the pin. Such a damn good match from start to finish. Mercedes was out to prove that she didn't need anybody to help her. Chris Statlander was out there to prove that, hey, she never lost that title and it should be hers. And it was pretty much a battle of attrition at that.
It really was. It was like a straight war. And I don't think anyone, even me, I am a big fan of Mercedes. Like, we've talked about this. You were in the building with me and my sister when Mercedes debuted officially for AEW, right? And I was CEO. I was having a ball. I was having a blast. But it's just this brings up a really interesting wrinkle in this, because everyone expected Megan Bayne to show up or like something to happen, right? Like everyone expected for like Mercedes to cheat her way out of this, which I'm happy they didn't. I'm so happy they just did it this way, which adds a thing to it, because now this is probably Mercedes' toughest opponent at this point outside of Willow, which I still 1A 1B, they're right there. But Mercedes just proves to mainly herself, I guess, really, that she doesn't need Camille. Like, she doesn't need a heavy to do her dirty work, because this whole feud with Mercedes and Stat has literally been Camille fucking up. And then Mercedes trying to go in and do like what she has to do, and that doesn't work because Stat, like in this match, just bulldozed through anything that she tried to do.
Yeah.
But Mercedes still ended up winning. And again, did it alone. Fully alone. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Hopefully on Wednesday. Like, Wednesday's going to be packed with the Continental Classic that we don't have brackets for. But it's going to be stacked. So I'm excited to see where this goes next.
Yeah, man. Same here. Oh, man. that match was so damn good, and it's just again, Chris Statlander and Mercedes just put out a banger, and like it is another match like in a row that Chris Statlander has put on like an amazing match. Like she's putting on some damn good ones, like a string of good ones all in a row.
Listen, we have a new agenda. Mercedes is keeping the TBS championship. She is the face of TBS. That is fine. After what's going on with Mariah May and Mina, Stat needs to go ahead and be that world champion. If we're not going to get Timeless Tone Storm or anything, I don't know. She retired, maybe really retired. I don't know, but whatever happens next, we need Stat to be world champion by July of next year.
Yeah, we need her in the title picture, or we need. The one thing I'm going to echo from the internet that I agree with. We need a women's C2 Continental Classic.
Bro, yes, we do.
And we need because we got a lot of we have so many women in this division that are so damn good that would benefit from a title like that.
It is about time, right? That division right now is too stacked to only have the two titles. They definitely need like a continental championship. Like we also need a women's blood and guts. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet because the women are outdoing everyone when it comes to their hardcore matches. Like so, we need AEW to step that up. And Mercedes and Stat also proved that you give these women time, they can steal a show. Because, look, this is going to be controversial. I know it is. But it's the truth. Everyone knew that Ospreay and Fletcher was going to be fantastic. Yes. Everyone. There's no one who watches AEW who was like, Ospreay and Fletcher, that should be okay. Everyone expected that match to be great. A lot of people expect this match to be really good. I don't think anyone expected what we got. This can be match of the night. And if this is your match of the night, I don't blame you. I fully feel that. Low key, this might be my match of the night. I really did enjoy Fletcher and Ospreay. That's still the best match, I think, of the card. For sure. But if you're talking about expectations being blown away, Mercedes and Statlander took whatever we had and quadrupled it. Like, so I have to say this is probably my match of the night.
So, this is going to be the second pay-per-view where I'm going to say, like, this is the second pay-per-view and the second Chris Statlander match where I'm going to be like, this is my match of the night. Because the other one was with her and Willow in the street fight.
That match was so good. Didn't even get the props it deserved either.
Yeah, like that match was amazing. But if you guys ever watch that match, watch that match. So this is also on Full Gear. The Statlander and Mercedes. This is my match of the night. Easy.
Y'all argue with your mamas. We don't, if you disagree, that's fine. But this, bar none, had high expectations that also blew them away. Like, like I said, obviously, I think Ospreay and Fletcher was probably the best match on the card. Like, sure, yes. But expectation-wise, crowd-wise, everything-wise, Mercedes and Chris Statlander, well, I would not mind if they did this again, like, Wednesday. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, just, this match was fantastic. I don't think, we've already given it so much high praise. I don't think we still have given it enough of what it deserves. This match was fantastic. Yeah, man. It was easily one of the best matches of the card, and the ladies delivered, man. They delivered. They delivered and beyond delivered. So, props and kudos to both of them. AEW, give these women more time. Y'all were doing really well with it like a month ago and then just kind of dropped off again. Give these women time. Let's do what we were doing a month ago, give us more stories, give us more time, and just let them rock because they can fly.
Yeah, you got. I almost like. Here's my observation, just my complete observation.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like they don't know how good of a division they got, a women's division they got,
Honestly, you might be on something. Honestly,
because their women's division is ridiculous. It is stacked, and they can all they can all go except one person, but they can all go in the ring. And then there's the ones that are like new and are still learning. They're getting up there and they're learning and they're getting their reps in, and they can go too. So it's like they're they're for sure getting that tagline, "We're the best wrestle." They got the best, some of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and so what they need to let them do is wrestle. Give them some more time. Give them time somewhere. Give us we need like 2 or 3 women's matches, on a card, even on a pay per view. Doesn't matter. Like we got 2 on this one, right? We got Anna Jay and Deonna Purrazzo in the 0 Hour, and we got this match. They just we need to give them more time, and I don't care if it's like an hour on Collision or 2 hour, whatever. Give them time on Dynamite. Give them a bunch more time on Collision. We just need it to happen,
please. But I think that's all for that. Now we got to talk about that other one that we had a choice of. Right now, we got to talk about Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher.
Oh, one more thing I'm going to say about these the Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné match.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this also goes with the tag match too. These matches set a precedent across the whole card. Right? These were all clean matches. No interference, and where you would expect interference, right? Most of these matches, like, you would expect somebody to jump in and do something. No, across the whole card except for the end, which was the only place that interference really happened, everything was clean, and these matches set the precedence for that.
It's the point we didn't have a debut or return until the end either with Willow. Like nothing, which was surprising, but I think was such a great call because really, they got the division the company got to shine with the people they already have. Like there was no one new showed up really. Like this is the company. So if you watch this card, this is the company. We haven't even talked about like Swerve and Bobby Lashley. We haven't talked about like a lot of these matches yet, right? But this is it. You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just remember, Kenny Omega ain't even back yet. Adam Copeland isn't back yet. It's only gonna get stronger.
Hell yeah, man. All right.
Yep.
We got to talk about this Will Ospreay Kyle Fletcher match.
Man, can we just do like 2 matches of the night? We got 1A and 1B.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. 1A, 1B. Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné and Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. Like, yeah, 1A, 1B easily.
Yeah, like I think they were about equal as for how good they are. Like these were easily the best matches of the night.
One was expected, right? Like you see Will Ospreay on a card on a pay per view at this point. Like he said himself, he's Mr. Pay per View at this point. You put him anywhere and you're good. And then Fletcher, bro, you specifically have been shouting his praises for a while now. I've talked about how good he is. I've talked about that for a while. But you on this podcast during the singles run have talked heavily about how good Kyle Fletcher is. And I feel like this is like your justification. Like this is it. Like if you had like a crowning moment for beating the drum on that, it's this match.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like well, you could go back to the other podcasts, previous weeks. If you're new, you'll hear about me talk about Kyle Fletcher has leveled up so much and is so damn good. Like he is so damn good. And this match, holy shit, it showed it. Like they gave this match, they gave full confidence. Like so, Kyle Fletcher did wins this match, but he won clean. He pins Will Ospreay clean.
I mean, after like attempted murder. Like he definitely almost he almost definitely murdered Ospreay. But yeah, he didn't cheat to do it. Like nothing he did was outside of the rules. It just attempted murder, basically.
Yeah. Oh, well, when he did that tombstone pile driver, that I was like, oh, I was praying that he did not miss. I'm like, please, Lord, there's so many ways this can fuck up. Do not, don't miss this. Please, God, don't miss this. Because where he was standing, if he would have jumped, even if he would have missed, Osprey's head would have hit the corner of the fucking stairs, which is like a sharp point of the stairs. And it would have been bad. But he didn't. He hit the stairs properly, and I'm like, oh, thank God.
He did take about like 30 seconds to line it up, so it's crazy that spot was, and it was a crazy spot, and it basically killed Ospreay. Like he tried to line it up for like 30 seconds. Like he was standing on the apron. He made sure he had his footing. Like everything. As much as I also cringed at that spot and was freaking out in my living room, I'm happy that they did it in a way that was, I mean, I get safe. I don't want to call it
I'm not gonna say it was 100% safe. I'm just saying it could have went wrong in so many different ways, and thank God it didn't. Because if he would have just misjudged it even a little bit, it would have been bad. It would have been really bad.
We're not gonna talk about too much of this match. I'm gonna give like super brief things.
Yeah.
To start, Ospreay came out with his music, but his Tron was different. He had like it was all black and white. Billy Goat. He looked like he had like a Punisher thing on his jacket. I'm pretty sure it was more like the Billy Goat. It just we didn't see the horns, but people called it Punisher, so they called it Punisher on the commentary. So we'll just call it Punisher. Like I said, I'm assuming it was like the Billy Goat that was on the Tron. Fletcher comes out with a crown and is like, he looks like he's anointed as a god, basically.
Well, so here's one thing I want to point out. He was wearing all white. What's the name? Will Ospreay was wearing all black, pretty much. And when Will Ospreay came out in the beginning, the part of the thing where you're yelling Ospreay, Ospreay, no reaction.
No, he was very stoic. Even coming out of the tunnel, he was like very stoic. He just he didn't even do like his like stretch pose, nothing. He just he stood there. He was in his all black, mostly black and white, and just kind of walked out.
Yeah, it was great because like you knew he meant business. He came out, no, this ain't a happy time at all. No, I'm here to mess up Kyle Fletcher. I'm here to fight.
He was war ready. Yeah,
he was ready. And then Kyle Fletcher, he came out wearing all white, like he's like like you were saying, he anointed himself as a god. Now I'll probably get flack for making this comparison.
Uh-oh.
Someone else did this too. He was also a heel in WWE. And he did it, I think it was at WrestleMania. Wore all white. Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah, Big Matt Seth. Yeah. Well, you talking about 2015, right? Right when him and John Cena.
Yep, he wore all white. Even though he was the bad guy, but he was like, Mr. Holier than, he was the I am the greatest thing you've ever seen, type guy.
That was I don't want to get too far from what we're talking about, but that Seth run in 2014, 2015 was like after he left the Shield, fucking generational, bro. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
You can tell Rollins shit. He knew he was the guy. We knew he was the guy. Everyone knew he was the guy except for WWE.
Yeah, except for them. But here's the other. Okay, one more WWE person that did the same thing. He was also the bad guy in the story. HBK also did the same thing.
Also, if you want to talk about it too, when he did it, he was also like the guy. Like he was the guy in wrestling, right? So if you want to put these comparisons between Rollins, HBK, and Kyle Fletcher, you kind of put it there.
I'm just pointing it out, but I'm not saying he's taking from that or anything like that. It's just a contrast of like characters, right? Because like usually when somebody is like in all white, they're the pure one. It's supposed to be like, right? They're the pure one. They're the highest mark. They're the holier than thou, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Al Fletcher was representing. He wasn't the good guy at all. He was the bad guy. In all those other instances, they were the bad guy too. So it's just an interesting contrasting comparison.
Well, I mean, to add to your point, because I don't care what you said at the beginning, bro, you were spot on. There's no reason that anyone should give you flack for that. That's a really good comparison, right? But if you really, really want to get into it, even during this feud, Kyle Fletcher, he was kind of emotional and doing this kind of thing and do whatever, right? But his whole thing was saying that he is better than Ospreay. Like, there was literally a promo where he said, you can hear in November Rain, where he said he's faster than Ospreay, he's stronger than Ospreay, he's smarter than Ospreay. Like, his whole thing is trying to get away from Ospreay, while, again, we use the word anointed. Like, if there was a match to anoint yourself as the guy, as a king, as who Seth Rollins was in 2015, as who HBK was in the late 90s, this is the match. Like, this is it. Like, he beat the Golden Goose, and he did it. I mean, again, attempted murder. He basically murdered Ospreay. Ospreay also was trying to murder Fletcher too. Like, we talked about the spot where Ospreay got driven into the steps, but Ospreay was also going to try to do maybe it looked like a Stormbreaker, most likely, onto the steps. Like, Ospreay was also trying to kill Fletcher, and Fletcher was just better. Like, that's just it. He was just better. Anything that Ospreay threw at Fletcher found a way to get out of, and did it clean. Of course, like, yeah, Don Callis got up and tried to. There was one point where Don Callis like almost slid into the ring, but Kyle Fletcher kicked out by himself. Like, he didn't interrupt the ref, nothing. Like, this was just Kyle Fletcher being better and beating Will Ospreay. Straight up.
Yeah. And the Don Callis thing where he jumps in, I laugh every time he does that. I can't help it. It's like, no! He just launches himself in the ring, and then, and then Kyle Fletcher kicked out. But every time he's done that, I can't help but to laugh.
It's like life or death for him. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he's just no, not in front of, but I get it though, because it's like, okay, you're the heel manager. Why wouldn't you break it up? You're right there. You're in front of it.
Yeah, he was on commentary, and then he hopped off commentary, and again, still never really, well, not really, he never interrupted.
Nope.
But yeah, man, it's just like we said, we kind of broken down the match at this point, right? Like, well, not broken down. We've broken down the story. Ospreay was trying to kill Fletcher. Ospreay has had a problem with Kyle Fletcher since he got dropped on his head with the Tiger Driver by Fletcher, saying that he can't feel his arm anymore. You got to see that a lot in the match too. There was points where he was trying to like stretch out his arm and doing stuff, his hands, trying to make sure he's still not feeling it in his hand, stuff like that. But again, a lot of things in this match happened. It was a very good match. We didn't say this for the last one, but for Mercedes and Chris, and for Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, if you haven't watched these, go out of your way and watch them. Like both those matches, just incredible, incredible.
Yeah. Excellent matches.
And then going to the end of the match, you already set the spot where Kyle Fletcher basically killed Ospreay by hitting him with the Tombstone Piledriver off the apron onto a set of ring steps. And it was at that point Ospreay was done. Fletcher did a couple more moves. Like, he didn't just go in and pin him.
No.
He had to do his buckle brain buster and a couple other little things here to just cement it, but he beat him straight up. Yep. After the match, this is the part that everyone's worried about, including me. Like, I said as much. Mark Davis slides out into the ring. Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher kind of looking at each other, and I was like, oh shit, here we go. It's gonna happen. Like, the lowest of the low. Nothing. Mark Davis grabbed Ospreay. He was like kind of like holding him up, like he was holding up like a dead body, basically, just kind of like holding him. Fletcher says something, I forget what he says. You might know what he said, and then he left the ring. Mark Davis helps Ospreay to the back, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't read what he was saying to Mark Davis, but man, that was such a damn good match. And also, I gotta give kudos to Will Ospreay just in general, because that guy is not selfish at all. He's doing his best to bring up as many people as he possibly can. He did it with Swerve. He's doing it now with Kyle Fletcher. As soon as Ricochet got in, he wanted to, mix it up and get it, help out Ricochet. Dude is not selfish. He will take a loss whenever. He gets his wins, he takes his losses, and helps elevate whoever he's going against. And so good. It's awesome to see.
That's really what wrestling should be, right? Like,
Yep.
if you want to be an all-time great, which at this point it's hard to argue against Ospreay, especially over like the last 4 years since COVID. You can even go before that, honestly, like maybe 2018, 2019 with his junior heavyweight run. Like, Ospreay is generational. He is everything that we say he is. Yeah. That also helps because he's willing to lose to help people. His name is already so big that Kyle Fletcher is a made man. So right now it made no sense. Even though I said it. I said this, that, we're going to get tag team Aussie Open. And again, I'm giving you props because you did say this. There's no point. Fletcher right now is such a big singles guy that there is literally no point to rerun Aussie Open as heels. Why would you do that now? So yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where they both go next. Like, Ospreay lost. He lost his friend. Davis is basically out on his own now. And Mark Davis is also a really good wrestler. But, I mean, Fletcher is just on another level right now. Just not even just in the ring. Everything that he's doing in wrestling is just on another level. So now Mark Davis is kind of out on his own. Ospreay has now lost. Kyle Fletcher is going to be big. I mean, we don't even know where this is going to go next. And again, like you said in the last match, like we said here, this was clean. Fletcher just did it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like to talk about Kyle Fletcher. Ever since, so when Mark Davis got hurt, and Kyle Fletcher, he joined the Don Callis family, and then he disappeared for a little bit because he went to Ring of Honor and had that television title.
Very good run too.
when he did that, that's when he started cementing himself as a singles wrestler. And when he was in Ring of Honor, you know, a lot of times when you do like things like that, you play around with stuff, or you try to find like you try to find that thing that's going to take you to the next level. Well, during that run, he found it. And then he brought it to TV, and then he started molding it, molding it, molding it. And now you see what it is now. He was already good, but doing that run and doing all that stuff made him a million times better. And now you get like this monster that you see on screen right now. They created a monster. He's so damn good. And yep, you'll hear me talk about, Kyle Fletcher almost every week because he is that damn good every time he's on.
I mean, we're gonna see it, and we also gotta talk about this because I just saw his age. Kyle Fletcher is 25 years old.
Yep.
25.
Yep.
That Jesus. 25 years old.
Yes.
Ospreay's like in his early 30s, by the way, also. So we talk about that too. But Kyle Fletcher is 25 fucking years old. The sky's the limit for him. He can do anything at this point. He has now beaten Will Ospreay. He's beaten what a lot of people call the face of the company. I don't agree with that. I love Ospreay. Multiple faces. There's not like one face. Neither here nor there. The sky's the limit for Fletcher now. He can do anything. Like, if you throw him in the Continental Classic, which we still don't fucking have brackets for, you throw him in the Continental Classic, he's now the favorite. If you can't break him away from the family now, he can't go off to Takeshita. Like, I don't know where he's gonna go next, but wherever it is, the sky's the limit. He can literally go anywhere and be fine. It's just seeing where he's gonna go.
Yeah, man. Like, just talking about it right now, and just thinking about that. Kyle Fletcher Okada final at the Continental Classic. I know we want Takeshita versus Okada, but that could be in for an international title match. To be honest.
I mean, at this point, we don't even need it, right? Because now all everyone wanted was for Takeshita to have a championship.
Yep.
He has it. Like, sure, yeah, he could be the Continental Classic, but at this point, I think I would prefer. We talked about this too. We talked about how much we want to see Takeshita win the title from Okada. At this point, let Takeshita go do his run also. Just let him be a champion. Let him defend. If you want to put him in the Continental Classic, sure, go ahead. But now, just let him run. That's why I'm so interested to see who's going to be in the Continental Classic now, especially after Fullgear. Like so many people kind of stepped up and people have moved around and things have happened. It felt like before Fullgear, we had a really good idea about who's going to be in the Continental Classic.
Yeah.
Now it's a fucking crapshoot. Like, anyone can be in there. We don't know. Like, we know Daniel Garcia is going to be in there. He put his hat in there. Cool. But, I mean, that means we have, like, what? We have 5 spots in each bracket left? Because I'm assuming that Okada and Garcia are going to be in 2 different spots. So we have 5 more. We have 10 more people that we got to fill in. And who knows who that could be?
You know what? I'm going to make a guess right now who one of them's going to be.
Who you got?
Buddy Matthews.
Oh yeah, Buddy. Oh, most likely. If we're gonna do another guess, it's probably gonna be Speedball. Because right, everyone's been talking about Speedball might be going to AEW. Speedball could be one to be in the tournament.
Well, from what I've seen now, probably not.
What happened?
Probably gonna go to AEW, but I think his thing isn't up until January.
Oh, never mind. Okay, he's done.
Yeah, but he'll probably be in AEW at some point. Because he finished up all of his tapings or anything and everything, but I think he did a taping all the way up until that point, right? So I think he can't show up on a I don't think he could show up in AEW until after that. But if he can, he probably will, right?
I mean, we'll see what happens. Like, look, that just brings me back to my point again. It's impossible to guess who's going to be in the Continental Classic now.
Yeah,
It's possible. I mean, we'll find out, I guess.
Bortos.
Yeah.
And if we have a question mark on there, Suzuki.
Oh yeah, he's going to be in like the Blue League for whatever reason.
It's always Suzuki. Just question marks? Oh, okay, Suzuki. Minoru Suzuki. Every time.
All right. I think we can we're going to do what AEW did. We talked about like 3 very hype matches, right? We still got a lot to go, but instead of talking about a match, we should talk about the champagne celebration.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
This one's fairly quick. Mina Shirakawa was out there. She introduced Mariah. Mariah was very happy. She was like, "Oh, finally, I can finally have my celebration. We can do this." They drink champagne. They're dancing, and then what honestly at this point should not have shocked anybody, but it shocked me. Like Mariah May took a bottle and was about to hit Mina with it. Mina ducked out of the way and then kicked the bottle out of her hand, which was badass, by the way.
And it shattered the bottle, too.
Badass. Mariah has lost her mind. Mina looked shocked. Mariah kind of was like standing there, looking a little shocked also. Probably by getting a bottle spin kicked out of her hand. And then Mina tackles Mariah off the stage onto a couple tables that are sitting there. The first one didn't break, but the second one kind of shattered, and then they just kind of slid onto the ground. It looked like Mariah kind of hit the back of her head. Didn't look pretty.
Yeah.
Mina's bleeding. Like, it looked like she lost a tooth. Mariah's knocked out. Mina gives a bloody kiss to Mariah and walks off. So, Mariah May, who continues to want to hurt everybody, decided to turn on Mina. So I'm assuming that's going to be at some point in the future, we're getting that match for the world title.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Mariah bit off a little more than she could chew on that one.
Mariah has lost her fucking mind. She turned on Toni Storm. Fine, right? Everyone expected her to turn on Toni Storm because that's just kind of, if you know her from Stardom, you have an idea about she's a little unhinged. She has become more unhinged. I did not expect her to want to attack Mina. I fully thought that Toni Storm was going to come out and do something, but the fact that I guess she might have retired, maybe she announced it. I guess she might be done with wrestling. Maybe who knows? But Mariah decided to turn on her best friend.
Yeah. And that bounce off of that table, it was like, tackle, thud. He bounced off of one table and went to the other one.
They're also doing it like nightgowns too, by the way. So it just probably like the movement wasn't really helping either. And they just that first table, it was just like I'm gonna do the smack. It was like a just thud.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really all. That's really all for this segment. There's not a lot. It's still shocking that Mariah, who, I mean, quite frankly, has lost it, decided to turn on Mina. Like, the only reason she wanted Mina to come back was so she can attack her, which, would make sense because if you're watching Stardom and doing other things, when Mina was in Japan and Toni was in Japan, they tagged together and they seemed like they were having a really good time. So we're pretty sure, if we're really thinking about it, it shouldn't be surprising. But it was really weird to see her just do it.
Yeah.
And then Toni may or may not have retired from wrestling.
She didn't retire.
I guess Tony Khan doesn't believe it either, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
There was a lot of air quotes on that. She was talking about her recent losses.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense, right? Because there's a Did you ever get to watch that video from the QR code?
No, I didn't get to watch the video from the QR code.
It basically, she was basically talking about like where she's been and what she's been doing as like a news report, like where in the world is Tony Storm or something like that. And she did talk about all the losses there because she lost everywhere pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a, you know, of course she didn't really retire. It's just put some big ass air quotes on that.
All right, we're gonna move on. We have I'm gonna give you a choice again.
All right,
because we've already talked about, like, I feel like we've talked about a lot of really good matches already. We gave ourselves a little break, a little bit with the championships campaign celebration. We can either talk about Swerve Strickland and Bobby Lashley, or we talked about them a little bit already, but either that or Hangman and Jay White.
Let's see. Let's talk about Hangman and Jay White first.
Okay. To break this down very quickly, so we can talk about this. Was probably going to turn us back into the main event talk a little bit, but talk about this. Hangman's coming in with an injured leg. Jay White seems like he injured his ankle immediately in this match, and that turned into both of them trying to break each other's legs. Like Hangman was trying to break Jay White's ankle, and Jay White was trying to break Hangman's leg. Whatever part of Hangman's leg is hurt, probably the knee, tried to do that. That was basically the entire match. It was a very good, very smart match. Like, there was a lot more that happened with that obviously, but a lot of the offense, like I would say maybe 60%, had to do with them trying to do leg damage. Like, Hangman did an ankle lock. I don't think I've ever seen Hangman do an ankle lock before. He did it a couple times just to try to make sure he could snap Jay White's ankle. None of that worked. It didn't really matter because Jay White ended up winning the match with his Blade Runner, as he does.
Yep. He caught Hangman from doing his buckshot lariat. He caught him again. The first couple of times he caught him, it didn't work though. They just went back and forth reversing each other. But that last one, he finally caught Hangman and got him with the Blade Runner.
I mean, he beat him, right? After the match, Jay White is doing his. He is a babyface now, babyface Jay White. That is a thing now. But he's doing his like celebration. He's like, "Hey man, I beat you 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ha ha! Beat you 5 times." And Hangman's just looking pissed. He looks so upset. Jay White is walking up the ramp. He's like, "Oh, I beat you 5 times. Let's go. You never actually beat me. The one time you beat me was an asterisk because you have to cheat to do it. 5-1." And Hangman hobbles up the ramp and decks Jay White in the back. We a couple referees are coming out. Christopher Daniels comes out. He's like, "Hangman, what are you doing?" Hangman decks Christopher Daniels and walks off. That's everything that happened with Hangman and Jay White.
I'm like, Jay White, you know this isn't over until Hangman says so, right? You'll take like 50 losses and he'll still come after you. It doesn't matter. He's eventually going to get you.
Before we get into the match, really quickly, Hangman fans on the internet, please calm the fuck down. Every time Hangman loses, all you act like the sky is falling. You act like we're all about to die. Like, calm down. Like, literally, after this match, even on Blue Sky, because I'm only on Blue Sky, I'm not on Twitter anymore. Like, people were acting like they were dying. Like, "Oh, Hangman lost. I don't know what's going on. Why did Hangman losing all the time?" Blah, blah, blah. Calm down. He literally is involved in the main event angle. Literally. If you would have just calmed down for like an hour, you would have, just relax. Your favorites are going to lose. My favorites lose all the time. It's fine. It's wrestling. It's not that deep. It's not that big a deal. Calm down. That's it.
Yeah, man. I think so. As far as this match goes, it was one of the matches. So there was a thing on how the matches were like done on
Mm-hmm.
this pay per view. We talked about it earlier. Where there was a match that got the people up, and then there was one that kind of leveled them out, and then the next match brought them up again, and then leveled out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those matches because it was the more. It was right after. Let's see. It was
Mercedes,
after.
Mercedes and Stat.
Yeah, Mercedes and Stat. So we were on a high on that match, and then they got methodical and slowed the pace down a little bit and just leveled everything out with a very solid and good match. And this happened the whole night. If you go and watch the card again, up, you know, makes it steady. They go up again. They made it steady again. It was really cool to see. And I think, because normally in an AEW pay per view, you would have like a bunch of high profile matches all in a row, and they never level out. So it's like a train wreck. So yeah, it's great.
And despite that, this being like you said, you were fully right. This is like everyone coming down. This match was still fantastic. Like this match was it's a very intelligent match. I keep on saying like a lot. I don't know what's going on. It was a very smart match, very methodical. It was fantastic to watch.
Yeah, man, it was pretty much like the complete opposite of everybody, even me. The complete opposite of what I thought what it was going to be. I thought they were just going to be like going to war in this match, but no, they slowed it down. It was like real methodical. They were trying to take each other's legs out. So yeah, it was overall though super. It was a damn good match.
We gotta talk about the story of Hangman really quick too while we're here. At this point,
Yeah.
right? Whenever we talk about Hangman, you got to bring it back to Swerve. At this version of Hangman, you always got to bring it back to Swerve.
Yes.
Before their match in the cage match, the lights out cage match, Swerve literally said to Hangman, "You're doing all this, you're freaking out, you're targeting me all the time, and you're not going anywhere. You're not getting any results. You're not doing anything. You're setting yourself back." And if you take that context into everything Hangman's been doing since, you can see it. Because, again, I don't want to be one of those Hangman has done nothing wrong people, because some of those people are insane. Flat out.
Yeah, they are. They're nuts.
But this version of Hangman is not Hangman at his best. Because he's clouded. He's like, his judgment's all off. Like, all he can think about is vengeance. When Hangman had something similar happen to him before. If you haven't been watching AEW, Profit, you already know what I'm about to talk about. But
Yep.
If you haven't been watching AEW before, you don't know Hangman's rise in AEW. And if this is the first time you're seeing him after this and you're like, oh, whatever. Hangman has to go through struggle. Hangman was an alcoholic before he became the world champion. Hangman had to deal with his demons. He had to get out of the Elite, who was, honestly at the time, were kind of abusing him, to be honest.
Yeah.
He was a world tag team champion with Kenny Omega. He was having problems. Kenny was trying to be there to support him, but Hangman just wasn't having it. Hangman had to get out of that, get out of the Elite, find people in the Dark Order, and recenter himself to get to a point where he can beat Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. Right now, Hangman is in a funk. He is out of it right now. Hangman needs to find a way to come back to reality before he's going to start being in positions where he's winning a lot and where he's back to being Hangman. That is the story here.
Yeah, that's the story.
So, like, I get that a lot of people wanted Hangman to win this. Like, oh, yeah, Like there was a guy on Blue Sky who actually reached out to me when I gave my predictions. I said Jay White was going to win this match because again, 9-1. I was wrong once, not to whatever. But he was like, oh yeah, if Jay White loses, he can go in the Continental Classic and he can redeem himself. It's like, sure, he can do that, but Hangman is the one who literally needs the redemption right now. Like he's been losing. Swerve literally told him to his face, but he won't listen to Swerve because he hates Swerve. But Swerve was trying to look out for him. As much as those two do not like each other, Swerve was trying to look out for Hangman, saying, hey bro, focus up, because whatever this ain't working for you. And until he breaks out of this is how Hangman's gonna be. Mm-hmm. So take that as you will. You don't have to listen to me if you don't want to, but I just told you the Hangman story. We have a very similar story to this back in 2021. That's all I'm saying.
Yep, it's the main character, and he's in his, what is it? It's his depressed story arc.
He's low key gone from the Chimera Ant arc.
Yeah, like
Hangman lost something that he didn't think that he wanted to lose, and he is angry about it. Gon did the same thing. Gon lost Kite. Spoilers, by the way, for I'm not even gonna talk about it. Like, if you know the story for Chimera Ant arc, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, watch Hunter x Hunter. You should. It's really good anyway. But that's it. Do you have any more thoughts on Hangman and Jay White?
No, it was really good. It was that's what it is. Each one of those matches that were in between, they're palate cleansers. There you go.
Oh yeah, that's a good term for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good, and and again, clean victory. More of that set the precedence for the whole night. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Damn good.
All right, we're gonna I'm gonna give you a choice again. Swerve Strickland and Bobby Lashley, or Takeshita and Ricochet.
Let's go Swerve and Lashley. Yes, sir.
This technically isn't Bobby Lashley's debut anymore. He had a match on Dynamite. If you're new here, we don't on pay-per-view weeks. We don't talk about the TV shows. We just focus more on the pay-per-view. But Bobby Lashley did have a match on Dynamite where he beat two people, including Cheeseburger. Cheeseburger almost had him, but neither here nor there. Not have to worry about that. He'll get his chance eventually. So Bobby and Swerve, it might not have gone how people expected. I think everyone kind of expected Bobby Lashley to win this match. Honestly, I think that. I don't think that was a surprise to anyone at all.
Yeah.
But Bobby and Swerve, to start, Bobby Lashley was beating the dog shit out of Swerve at the very beginning. Like, I was getting flashbacks of, like, we're talking about WWE things here, so you started this, so I did think of it, though. I was thinking about, like, John Cena and Brock Lesnar when Brock Lesnar was throwing around John Cena for, like, 16 German suplexes.
Yeah.
At the beginning, this match reminded me of that. I was like, oh shit, Swerve's about to get his ass beat. Swerve did end up coming back, and this became a real match where there was like a little bit of things here. There was a little bit of like interference here. It wasn't a lot. Like, Shelton tried to like grab Swerve's ankle, but he got booted immediately. Like, the ref saw it and booted him out. And now I'm thinking about it. Sorry, I'm on a tangent. Now I'm thinking about it. One of our biggest complaints from the last pay-per-view was the fact that there was too much interference.
Yep.
Yeah, they were like, all right, none, done.
Yep.
I didn't even think about that till literally just now. But yeah, Swerve and Lashley were going at it. It was a dog fight. I'm gonna tell you that much right now. There was Swerve hit a couple Swerve stomps, including one through the Spanish announce table. And no matter what Swerve did, Lashley just had a counter for it. Lashley ended up beating Swerve. People are gonna call it domination. It was at the beginning. It turned to a damn match. Bobby Lashley had to fight for this win. It was not easy. he acted like it was kind of easy at the end. It wasn't. After the match, which again, no interference other than like Shelton Benjamin like grabbing an ankle and then getting booted. Prince Nana gets thrown to the ring.
No.
They throw him in there. Nana is like over Swerve trying to protect him because the Hurt Business, or Jesus, the Hurt Syndicate was going to beat the shit out of Swerve again. Nana got put in the Hurt Lock like Swerve did. And they both, it ended the same for both of them. Neither of them tapped out, both of them passed out.
Well, Nana died the second he got put into it. So
Oh yeah.
he didn't have a chance. He didn't even have a chance to tap out. He was just dead.
Swerve had a chance to tap out, but he decided not to. He got knocked the hell out.
Mm-hmm.
And the Syndicate stands tall. Shelton Benjamin came back out, and they stood tall. One thing I want to mention that wasn't really part of the match is the crowd were singing like, "We hurt people, we hurt people." They were very 50-50, but like we said last week, ain't nobody booing the Syndicate, bro. Like, I'm sorry. They literally killed Swerve and Nana in the middle of the ring, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we hurt people, we hurt people." But you know, we're not booing the Syndicate. Like, I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen.
Bro, that song is fire.
It's so good. It's so good.
I ain't gonna lie. That song is that Bobby Lashley's theme song is the shit.
It's it's on the playlist. Like my normal playlist. I don't have no wrestling music on the normal playlist. It's on the playlist. That's how good that song is. But yeah, this is that's pretty much the match. Very good back and forth. This definitely is not over between the Syndicate and Swerve. For sure not. We will see what happens next. But you have any thoughts on this one?
So here's something I want to point out.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time, and I think it's the first time most people have seen it. For sure, this first time since I've watched wrestling for, I don't know, I want to say I've been watching wrestling since I was like 4 or 5,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm 41. So since I've watched wrestling, this is the first time I've seen the talent in the ring, all black. The ref, black.
Mm-hmm.
The managers, black. First time I've seen that. And that's like, I don't think people know how big of a step that is. Just in pro wrestling in general. It was just like, everybody in the ring was black. Everybody in the ring and outside.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome. It's just an awesome thing to see. And something I keep mentioning, something you'll never see in WWE. Let's just be real with it, right? This is something you'll never see.
We did get Bianca and Sasha Banks as a main event, and the woman in there was a black woman referee. But that's the only time I have ever like seen something similar. But even then, like that was 3 people, right? Like Bianca and Sasha Mercedes, they didn't have like managers and things like that at that time. It was just them.
Yeah, it was just them.
It's a black faction with a black superstar, like the franchise of the company, with a black manager, with Stefan being in the middle of the ring doing his thing. It was great. It was fantastic to see, and it was the co-main event. It was the same main. It was right before the main event. Fantastic spot, by the way, too.
Yeah, it's just really cool to see. And there was a thing at the at the press conference at the end, somebody asked Bobby Lashley a question about black champions and stuff like that, and he cut him off. He was like, "Wait, hold on. the thing that I'm paraphrasing it. So he pretty much said like the main thing is we need to stop going, talking about black champions versus champions and stuff like that. He's like, we normalized it here to their champions. No matter what, they are the champion. It's not a black champion versus the champion. No, it is. They are. If they're the world champion, they are the champion. They are a champion, and this goes for whoever holds the belt. They could be Latino, they could be black, they could be Asian. Doesn't matter. They're the champion. So let's say what it is. That he was the champion, not just a black champion. We don't have, this is a normal thing now.
I do enjoy that. I agree with Bobby, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm always going to be happy whenever I see, especially a world champion that's black. I'm always gonna celebrate it. But he is right. He is right. It should be normal, especially here now, right? In the day and age of 2024, it should be normal. So I agree with him to a point. I will still always be happy to see a black champion.
Yeah, he's not dismissing that part.
Yeah.
He's just saying when you see, because the thing he's tackling is, Swerve was the world champion, right? He was the black world champion. He wasn't the world champion. He was the black world champion.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the fucking world champion. He is the world champion, right? He's not this categorical champion. He's the world champion.
Yeah, I do need to watch the scrum. I'm probably gonna watch that a little bit later tonight. But yeah, Bobby Lashley, it's a great point. You know what I mean? Like a black world champion is still a world champion. Like that's bar none.
Yeah, he's the world champion. Like it's just he's not this asterisk category champion over here, right? Like, are we calling Samoa Joe the Samoan champion? No, he was the world champion.
We didn't do it. We didn't really do it with anyone else too. Like Kenny Omega wasn't the Canadian world champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hangman wasn't the cowboy world champion. Like he was just a world champion.
He was just a world champion. So I totally agree with him on that.
This was I really need to watch the scrum, but the match was incredible. Like I really enjoyed this match. If Mercedes, Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, and Chris Statlander were not on this show, were not on this card, this was like this could have been my match. I still really enjoyed it. It's 2A. We have a 1A, 1B, and a 2A. But I really enjoyed this match. How can I say this properly?
Okay.
I really appreciate having people like Bobby Lashley, Swerve Strickland, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, Prince Nana. Like, I really appreciate just having them in this kind of spot here, because this felt like, this really was like the second biggest feud. You can argue first, honestly, going into Fullgear.
Right. Like
they did everything they could to make this really big. No one's booing the Syndicate, which you're not going to. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. They can do anything naturally. We are not booing them. We know how much they wanted this run in front of a crowd. And they're soaking it up. And you can just, like we said with Ricochet, you can kind of see it. You can't see it on Bobby Lashley. You can see it a little bit on Shelton Benjamin, but you can see it on MVP. That they are having a ball. I mean, look, you're not going to see it on Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley has that face. You know, he's just going to stoic. He's going to be there.
He probably, like, when he gets to the back, he has that face. But Shelton Benjamin, he breaks every now and then.
Yeah, you see it on Shelton every once in a while. MVP, every time he's out there, you see him like just excited to be doing what he's doing. Like, they wanted to do this in front of a crowd, and they deserve this. And the fact that they are going up against the franchise of AEW, they're going up against who I consider and who should be considered the guy in AEW. Samoa Joe helped clean the stench off of last year. Swerve took us to where we are right now.
Yeah.
Swerve is the guy. Swerve is the franchise of AEW. The fact that we have so many main players doing this, having a fantastic match, all looking fantastic while doing it. I mean, as a black man, I just love this. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to see where this goes next, because this isn't over.
Oh no. And just like I mentioned with Will Ospreay in that match, or I have to give kudos to Bobby Lashley also. For also making Swerve look like $1,000,000. Also, they made each other look like $1,000,000, but I was also thoroughly impressed that Bobby Lashley did everything in his power to make Swerve also look like $1,000,000.
Bobby was selling his ass off, bro. Whenever Swerve was hitting him, he was selling his ass off.
Yep, and it was great. It's he was showing that hey, Swerve can be a threat too, even to like somebody like me, like Bobby Lashley. But it was and I think like the ultimate payoff at the end is going to be Swerve is going to go over eventually, right? Like he's going to get the big win at the end. But you just got it again. It's one of those ones where how Ospreay took the loss to Fletcher. Lashley's eventually going to take the loss to from Swerve, but it's going to be on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
After they built it up for a while, and it's just awesome to see like when like veteran wrestlers like that, instead of going scorched earth and like burying everybody under them, they're helping get the other guys over.
Yeah, I mean, Swerve is the most injured man in AEW, right? You play it up. Bobby Lashley didn't have to. Bobby Lashley got to do what he wanted in the first like 5 minutes. Like, I was scared, but ended up becoming a real match.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just it was a great match. Like I said, I can't wait to see where this goes. Also, really quick, last pay-per-view, everyone said that was AEW's Infinity War, right?
Uh-huh.
So I think people expected this to be the end game at this point. The problem is, I think people forget this. End game, it took 5 years to get there.
Yeah.
In universe. Like, there was a lot of time between everything. So I think people expected coming in here to see all the good guys win, all the faces win. Really, like, was there really, like, other than Garcia and Private Party, I don't think there was a face that won, right? Like, that was it. It was just Garcia and Private Party.
Private Party, yeah.
So we will get to the point where we will have our faces becoming like winning, right? We will get there. It's just this was not going to be Endgame. Like, it wasn't. Like, people shouldn't expect it. Like, I do think a lot of heels won this. But we shouldn't have expected like any of the faces to really win. Honestly, if you really look at this objectively, it makes sense for all of them to lose. They're on the back foot right now.
Yeah, and also we just gotta. It was a time to build more people. Like, we can't just have like all the faces just murdering everybody, right? Like, there's a point where like you got to build up the villain, you got to build up the bad guys, you got to get your legal villains in there.
Yeah,
you got to build them up. Like, if you don't build them up, then when the good guys have to fight somebody, no bad guy is credible, right? Like, you ain't got nobody like that can match up to the face.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like this is just building them all up. So people be patient. I know people aren't. They got that 2 second attention span.
Mm-hmm.
Um, be patient. That's the main thing. Just be patient. This storyline, like all these storylines, they're not going to end soon. Not at all. Like that Moxley storyline, I feel like it's got like a year on it.
It easily could. I can see it.
Yeah, because like there's so many people that are going to go in and out, and yeah, I just feel like it's not going to just be like, oh, and it ends. It's like no, 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 no. It's going to keep going.
I mean, they're building up. Like we know, January 1st, we're doing fight for the fallen. Like we know we're
Right.
getting that right. Like we know we're getting on Max. So we could probably see a couple things changing there. But for right now, just enjoy the riot because all of these matches have also been fantastic. By the way.
Yeah.
But that's it. We have, other than the kickoff with the buy-in. I don't think we'll talk about the buy-in today. I think we'll leave that alone for right now. We have 3 matches left.
Okay.
We have the TNT title match between Daniel Garcia and Jack Perry. We have
Okay.
the International Championship between Konosuke Takeshita and Ricochet. And we have the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team title match. Which one do you want to do next?
And we have Roddy versus MJF, right?
Oh, God, I completely forgot about that match. Let's just get that out of the way since I forgot about
Yeah.
it.
Let's just knock it out.
Yeah, Rod Strong versus MJF. MJF comes out. He's doing his thing. He's flipping people off. He's doing whatever, right? Doing his thing, getting people to boo him. People kind of did. They really weren't, though, to be honest. Rod Strong came out, did his thing. It was a pretty good match. Like I completely forgot about this match. Actually, I'm looking at the card. I completely forgot about it. MJF gets on the mic immediately and starts talking shit because MJF, whenever he's in an arena, he always has to talk. Never fails. They had a really good match. Pretty back and forth. Roddy was doing a lot of his backbreakers. He was doing a good job doing that. It didn't matter because eventually MJF was able to hit his armbar and Strong tapped out immediately. After the match, we MJF puts a chair over Roddy's arm and breaks his arm. And then literally after he breaks his arm, Adam Cole's music comes on and he runs down along with the rest of the Undisputed Kingdom and Kyle O'Reilly. They're checking on Roddy. Kyle gets up, pushes Adam Cole, and was like, I told you what was going to happen. Like, I told you this because we didn't talk about Dynamite. But Cole and Kyle O'Reilly had a low-key, very awkward segment with each other on Dynamite, saying that, like, oh, you know, if anything happens to Roddy, this is on you, basically. Like, you just probably shouldn't even pursue MJF anymore. Just calm down, is what Kyle O'Reilly was saying. Rod Strong ended up getting hurt, and we move on the story. If you can't tell by the way I'm talking about it, I wasn't really into it. But what are your thoughts?
Match was, the match was pretty decent. It's perfect for where it was. At the start of the show after the tag match to kind of like slow things down. Was like the first of those matches. Yeah, this was mainly just to further the storyline between Adam Cole and MJF, really. And then maybe like a little thing between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Kind of like continuing their stuff from NXT. That's what's kind of looking like. Continuing a little bit of the black and gold storyline that they had going on.
Yeah, they've been doing this for a long time. Like Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly have had problems since like Ring of Honor. Like they've always like had this on and off. They'll be friends one day and then they'll be enemies the next. That's kind of what they're doing. They've always done that.
Yeah. So eventually, like, they'll become friends again after they beat the shit out of each other. So that's where it's gonna go.
I don't think we have to hang on this one too long. they gotta figure what they're gonna be doing with Adam Cole and MJF out, because this, to me, this isn't really working. It really hasn't been working this whole time for me personally.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm like, this is one of those storylines that's I'm kind of like, it's okay. I'm like right in the middle for it. Like, yeah, if it went away, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Right. Um. So, I kind of want it to be done so they can move on and go to do other things, other feuds. And just like finish what that story that they want to finish. Like, just get that shit finished because it's kind of disjointed anyway. It would have been fine if it happened when it was supposed to happen, but it's kind of weird now. So let's just finish it, get the exclamation point, and then Adam Cole goes one way, MJF goes his other way. And that'll be it.
Yeah, I fully thought that once MJF did that brainbuster to Adam Cole in at Double or Nothing, I thought everyone kind of like, oh, they're done. They don't have to worry about this anymore. Once Adam Cole comes back, they'll go their separate ways. It took Adam Cole like a few months to come back after that, after taking a bump, so that was kind of surprising. But yeah, this isn't really working. I don't really mind these kind of storylines either. It's just this one doesn't make sense, because if we're going all intents and purposes, Adam Cole should be the heel here, because Adam Cole is the one who portrayed MJF. And sure, MJF came back as a douchebag as he is, but really he got scorned, so he just went back to being how he is. As much as I didn't like MJF at the back half of last year with the bullshit he was doing, he was softening up, and then Adam Cole portrayed him. So it makes sense that he's a douchebag again. So like, this just makes sense. I do wish they would just wrap this up. This doesn't have to last any longer.
Right. Yeah, it would have made sense to like when they in the moment when they were doing it, but now it's like, it's whatever.
Yeah. That's it. I don't think we have to harp on that. We can go on to the other three that I actually remembered that were remaining. The last three, just to go over them again. The AEW International Championship match between Ricochet and Takeshita. We have the tag title match with Private Party, House of Black, Outrunners, and the Acclaimed. And then we have the TNT title match with Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia.
Let's hit the tag match real quick.
Tag match. First off, a lot of people really wanted the Outrunners to win this match. They just, okay. Like, I get it, but
no.
let Private Party at least have the titles for like a couple days, bro. Like, this was their first defense. They all calmed down. They wanted everyone else. They wanted House of Black to win this. They wanted the Outrunners to win this. They want everything else. They wanted all that stuff. They just wanted to make sure these were all Private Party. I don't rock with that. I like Private Party as a tag team. They did really good here. Granted, they were getting their ass beat in this match.
Yep.
House of Black beat them up. Outrunners took them on a little bit. The Acclaim kind of beat themselves up, which we'll talk about after, like a little bit after. But Kings of the Black Throne and Outrunners and Private Party, they were doing their thing. There was a lot of back and forth action in this. It's very hard. It's very hard to already talk about this. It doesn't matter. We can talk about the end though. The end, after the Acclaimed have been like basically beefing this entire match, pretty much. Like, even to the point where after Caster did his rap, he just threw the mic at Bowens. Bowens missed and had to walk over to go grab it. There were points in the match where they just weren't communicating with each other either. There was a point where Max Caster and Anthony Bowens were both legal at the same time, and Caster was like, pin me, which I guess, but I don't really, whatever. Caster gets hit with the gin and juice and loses to Private Party, so Private Party retains the AEW Tag Team Championships.
Yep.
Really, House of Black were doing their things. Outrunners are the Outrunners. They were doing Outrunner things. The Acclaimed were very heavily beefing here. To the point where we thought something was going to happen here. Nothing happened actually in the match. Like, they kind of looked at each other, but we kind of moved on. And Private Party wins. You have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think like this was another one of those Kings of the Black, So Kings of the Black Throne, uh, they were fucking everybody up. Like from the start of the match, like they were destroying everybody. So I get why people are like, well, why don't we make them the tag champs? They're gonna get their time because the way Malachi has been wrestling lately, ever since he hugged Adam Cole and I don't know, he got superpowers from it. Um, that guy's been on a different level. Like after that match, I don't know what it is, but Malachi Black has been insane. And then Brody King, that guy's awesome. Like he's completely ridiculous. He's got the crowd behind him. He does that bark thing, and the whole arena's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that was just cool. Like private party, they did their thing, man. They look good. They look great, and they came out looking good. They didn't come out looking weak, right? Through all of that. The Outrunners, they're Outrunners. They're the team that was in there that you already knew they were not going to win.
Despite apparently a bunch of people wanting him to win, I didn't really get that, but whatever.
They're there for they're a good team to slot in there. You could slot them in whenever you want, and they're just going to do their thing. You're going to have a good time, right? But I think overall this 4-way match was pretty good. Of course, Private Party they won and should have won.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want them being the fastest. The team to lose the title the fastest. What are you guys thinking? Like, stop that. And I'm looking forward to them having a big run. But on the other side, after they have that good run, I wouldn't mind seeing them lose to the Kings of the Black Throne. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I can see that. It definitely feels like that they're next up, right? Malachi and Brody. It feels like they're next up for sure.
Well, I think all of them are next up for something. Because, not going into the Fullgear 0 hour, right? Like, Buddy Matthews won that match. But he was, the way he looked during that match and the way they were showcasing him through that match, specifically him and Mortos, like Dante Martin and fucking Commander were just victims. They were just getting murdered every time. They get up and then Buddy and Mortos would just kill them and then they would go back to fighting again, right? So, but yeah, man, the way they were showcasing Buddy Murphy, oh God, I call him Buddy Murphy. Buddy Matthews even did the Rhea Ripley stomp in the beginning. So, yeah, man, like I think like House of Black in general, there's going to be a lot of things happening for them in the coming year. We'll just say that because that's how it's looking.
It definitely feels like that was overdue, right? Because
Yeah.
House of Black has always been like that team. Like, I know Malachi like hurt his back for a little bit a while there, and I know as much as we don't talk about backstage rumors and stuff like that, we're probably one of the only podcasts that really don't. There's a point where Malachi was talking about wanting to leave, Buddy was talking about wanting to leave. Like, a lot of things were happening, right? Right now it feels like Malachi and Buddy are both kind of just like bought in right now. Like, I don't know how long it's gonna last. This might end in like 2 weeks. Who knows? But it feels like they're in right now. So capitalize on this while they're doing this, while they are engaged. Let them do what they're supposed to be doing. Because House of Black, Kings of Black Throne, Buddy Matthews, whatever combination you want to say of them, they've always been great. They've all been great. So let them run now. If they're here, if they're focused and they're dedicated, let them run.
Yeah, and they're they're always a credible team. No, like each one of them are credible by themselves, right? Like you see them come into the ring, you're like, oh fuck. Like you see Brody King come to the ring, and he's about to do a match. You're like, well, somebody's gonna die. I don't know who it is. They're dying. He's gonna bark. He's gonna kill them, and they're gonna die. So that's the same with like if when all of them come out, it's like, okay, who's getting it? Who's the victim? who's the, who's that set of teams that they're gonna just turn into caskets because that's what's gonna happen. They're just that team, and I hope like they give them that extra rub, that extra push for like all the guys because I like that team. I think they're awesome, and plus Julie Hart's coming back too, so we have that. So it's just I think it's time pull the trigger on them like getting into everywhere and like just having good runs.
Yeah, it's past due, right? Um, we talked about Kings of Black Throne. We've talked about the Outrunners at this point, right? We've talked about Private Party. Private Party are they're champions. They deserve to be this. This is a 5-year story. They've done this. I would love to see Private Party have like a solo tag match just with one opponent. Their next one, I would like that to be built for World's End for sure. I don't know who it's gonna be. It could be anyone. I don't really care, honestly. We gotta talk about the Acclaimed.
Yeah, let's talk about the Acclaimed.
I've talked about it. Like most of my like breakdown was about the Acclaimed, but Bowens and Caster were just not on the same page at all. Like at all throughout this entire match. Like they were I already talked about it. Caster did his rap, threw the mic at Bowens. Everyone's like, oh shit, and like Bowens is looking like, what the fuck? Goes to get the mic and does his thing. Caster also was just trying to do his thing. There was one point specifically that I really want to talk about. When they were both in the ring and everyone was chanting, fuck you, Caster. So Caster was actually playing up the heel. Like, I don't think Caster's really been like super booed like that before. Like he has been booed for sure, don't get me wrong. But like targeted at him. And it just so happens to be around Bowens people, because like Bowens is like from that area. So Caster is like flicking them off and like telling them to suck it and doing all the other stuff. And Bowens gets in the ring and he's like looking at Caster like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? And Caster just does not care. He just keeps on doing it while Bowens is just standing there. They get taken advantage of because of that. But there were like a lot of these moments where even their tag team moves that we've seen them do 100 times, they were messing up together. Like everything was just off for them. To the point where Caster took the pin. Because Caster was trying to be like a douchebag on top of the rope and trying to like do whatever, and then he got hit with the gin and juice and lost. But they were having issues. Billy Gunn came out there and was like trying to get them on the same page. That wasn't working. Like everything was just, they were just beefing. What did you have anything on the Acclaimed?
Yeah, so ever since Caster got the card from MVP, right? That's when shit went downhill. That's when Caster was like, well, he gave me the card. Yeah, I'm better. I'm the best wrestler. He further, taking his best wrestler alive thing, to heart even more, right? So he, in his mind, he got that card from MVP. That means he was chosen to be like, part of the Hurt Syndicate. And you know what? Why not? It'll take me to the next level. So fuck everybody behind me. Scorched earth behind me. And that's what's happening right now. So it's all going to come to a head. And I think the funny thing would be he goes and tries to get into Hurt Syndicate, and they're like, you know what? You suck. We don't need you. And then they just beat the shit out of him, so he's by himself.
Out of the company. But yeah, man, we'll see. The breakup is happening. Like, it's here. It didn't happen on the pay-per-view, but it's going to happen sooner
it's
rather than
happening.
later. Like
Yeah.
it's written in stone now at this point, written in concrete. Like it might be next week, it might be the week after, but at some point we are going to see them break up.
Yeah.
Okay, now before we go into the next match, I need to look up the Continental Classic again because this is pissing me the fuck off. That we
It's
still
on YouTube.
no nothing. It's not here yet. Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. The latest video they put up there is Big Boom, AJ, Big Justice, and the Rizzler. Looks like they put up the full match. Oh, they put the full match on YouTube. Smart of them.
Well, 0 hour, right? So it's gonna be on there.
Yeah, but they put it like by itself now.
Ugh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It did what it needed to do.
yeah. It got people watching, and they put November Rain right after that, which was really smart. Anyway, we have 2 more matches. We have the TNT title match and the International Championship match.
Let's do the TNT title match.
Oh, okay. So we get this match. Jack Perry, who is the champion, TNT champion, versus Daniel Garcia. After Daniel Garcia literally kidnapped Jack Perry. The funny part about this was Matt Menard was there, also Daddy Magic, and
Yep.
Nigel was like picking at Daddy Magic the entire match. Be like, yo, you're a kidnapper. You literally kidnapped Jack Perry, and then y'all left him to die in that storage wherever you had him. Like, y'all had the area set up and everything. I don't know what y'all were on, but y'all were crazy.
And then Matt Menard's like, yeah, I may have taken a part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have went too far. Yeah, you did. You literally kidnapped the guy. Like, Jack Perry has been on his own. Bro, Jack had like no advantage here at all. Jack couldn't get into Dan Garcia's head. Like, every time that they were on screen together, Garcia yoked him up like every single time. Like, that was basically the match too. Jack Perry can take an inhumane amount of damage, and Jack Perry was also trying to like get Daniel Garcia to like flip, to like mess up and slip or whatever. There were a couple times where he almost did, but I mean none of that worked. It didn't matter. No matter what mind games Jack Perry was trying to do, it didn't matter. And we have a new TNT champion in Daniel Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
So I'll say this was, as far as the match goes, it was all right. It was an okay match, right? I do think it was more of a, Jack Perry playing the martyr part, where it's like, hey, the reason why you're not ready for this title, I think the whole story was the reason why you're not ready for this title is because you're not willing to take it to a level above what you're not willing to go all the way with this. Which Daniel Garcia didn't have to go all the way with it. He just, did Daniel Garcia things. But I do think the interesting thing now is, instead of having Daniel Garcia's presentation now is like, he's pretty much a Red Death now. So he's they got rid of like the, because his Tron was like him doing that dance or whatever. Got rid of that shit.
He doesn't do that shit no more.
He doesn't do it no more. He raises both of his arms up, but that's more of a, his cheering thing now.
That's a funny story about that. Do you know where he got that from? Because I can tell you exactly where he got it from.
Where's that?
There was a fight between the Lakers and the Pistons a couple years ago. Russell Westbrook was still on the team, right? And that's the pose I'll send to you later. I gotta remember. Like, that's the pose Russ did when Russ was about to fight somebody while he was on the Lakers against the Pistons.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it was. And then Daniel Garcia just kind of took that.
He took it. He turned it into a dance. He did everything with it.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a lot of that, and Jack in this match, Jack Perry did take it to him. It's not like he did nothing and just took damage. Like there was that one part where he just power bombed him through the table. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. He just picked his ass up and just tossed him down. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know you had that in you, Jack.
Can I can I be a little controversial? This is the one I was
Yeah,
really controversial on.
yeah, go for it.
I picked Garcia to win. I did. I
Uh-huh.
enjoyed Dan Garcia. Uh, I think Jack Perry was probably going to be a better champion than what Garcia might be. Like we'll see Garcia. Like he just had the title, so this is me being crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about yet, but it definitely feels like Jack Perry could have done more with the TNT Championship. He doesn't need to. That's fine, but yeah, Garcia has to prove himself a little bit. He has the championship. It's great now.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens.
I think Jack Perry grew on you.
I, I I've always liked him. Like I didn't like Jungle Boy.
Right, you're saying I didn't like Jungle Boy.
Once he cut that shit out and was doing Jack Perry things, you know what, you're right. He has grown on me. He has grown on me for sure. But since he's been Jack Perry, since he's been Scapegoat, since I got to watch him do his thing in Japan and really like take this character to where it is now, I'm just a fan of what he's doing. Like he's talking in riddles, he's talking like a lunatic, but I think it really works for him. Like the scapegoat angle also is just it's real. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like it's just real. Like we know that he was a scapegoat. We know a lot of things. He probably might not be feeling this way anymore, but he was basically left out to dry for months. Like it's the truth. That's just how it was. He got
Yeah,
punished for something that's not even his fault. If we're gonna be completely honest. But
that was all
yeah, no. But this really works for him. I would like to see what Jack Perry's gonna do next. I am a little worried about what Garcia's gonna do. Um, I need to see Garcia wrestling, be a fighting champion. Jack Perry, he wasn't fighting as much, but he was a fighting champion. I see that with Garcia. But he's going to be in the Continental Classic now. So now he's not going to be defending the title. He's going to be in matches, which is going to be great. But he's not defending the title. He's not going to be defending the title for a little bit. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see what happens. But I definitely would not have been mad if Jack Perry would have won this match.
yeah, same. Uh, you know what, funny thing would be if Jack Perry was like, you know what, I'm gonna be in the Continental Classic too, and then he meets up with Daniel Garcia again,
Hmm.
and something weird happens to where they make it a title match and then he wins it back.
That'd be interesting, right? Like we've seen that happen in G1 before, where like a
Yeah,
champion was like doing his thing, and then he got challenged for his title during a block match, and he lost his title that way. Like it's been a thing. It's happened before. We'll see.
yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of stakes in that, right? You could lose your championship and at the same time lose points, right?
Yeah.
You don't get points,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be an interesting way and a viable way if you wanted to like give the title back to Perry and have them play out the story a little bit more to do that.
I mean, we'll see what happens. We still don't know where they're gonna go next. I mean, we know where Daniel Garcia is gonna go. Actually, he's like one of the few people we actually know about his current future, what he's gonna be doing the next couple of weeks. But we'll see. Jack Perry might take some time off also because the rest of the elite's gone, and we get Okada season because Continental Classic. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, and then we go on to the final match that we will be talking about. I guess, final match is for the international championship, Takeshita versus Ricochet.
Um, I'll just start off by saying I enjoyed this match a lot. A lot.
Yeah, we
I think, I think like, Ricochet. um, during this match showed, you know, one, he showed he could hang in AEW. Well, he already showed that, right?
Mm.
He showed it even more. Showed he can he could do big matches. He could take the loss. You know, he wasn't going to win this match. he, I don't care what anybody said. He was. I never had a thought in my mind that he was going to win this match against Takeshita. I think they're going to build on it, and he's eventually going to win the match later on. But yeah, I just feel like just overall the match was fantastic, and I'm hoping it builds to other things in the future between those two, because I don't think they're done.
Nah, I agree. I think they're gonna cool off for right now. And as much as I hate when people say these stories, Ricochet can build himself back up to wrestle Takeshita again. But and this is the match I got wrong. Because for whatever reason, I just kind of expected them to do what they did to Roderick Strong. You know what I mean? Like Ospreay's been in the company was in the company for a couple months. Wrestles Roddy. Roddy's been international champion for like a month, and then loses it. So I just assumed they're gonna do the same thing with Ricochet, which I'm actually kind of happy they didn't. I'm happy Takeshita, like, let Takeshita have this run. Like, it's been long needed for Takeshita, so it's great. Plus, Ricochet will be around. Like, he can I would like to see Ricochet in the Continental Classic. Like, that would be dope, right?
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
But this was I think this was a good match. I think it was fine for Ricochet to lose here. Like, Ricochet will get another chance. He will be international champion at some point. Doesn't have to be right now. Takeshita has a lot of plans in the next 3 months already.
Yeah.
Because we already talked about him wrestling for New Japan in the States. He's already going back to New Japan for next year. He's wrestling on, I think, January 4th and January 5th. So he's doing Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty, more than likely. Ricochet already has plans at Wrestle Dynasty. Like, he's going to be wrestling for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Like, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
So, like, they all have plans. This is going to be fine. I think at some point next year, Ricochet will be international champion. But right now, this is Takeshi's moment. Takeshi shouldn't have lost this. It would have been a bad call if he did lose it, even if it was to Ricochet. And, yeah, that's really it. This is probably going to be on pause right now. We'll probably see them again sometime next year.
Yeah. And, again, like, this match was good. It was pretty damn good. I do feel they got a whole lot more in the tank for the next match.
Oh yeah, for sure. They definitely were not. They were definitely wrestling, but they were not giving like everything.
Right, and man, they're both amazing. Takeshita is a beast, man. That guy,
monster.
like, the way he was doing those, he keeps, like, doing them deadlift wheelbarrow suplexes to everybody and shit like that in weird positions and stuff like that. It always amazes me every time he fucking does it.
Bro,
But the fact that Ricochet did it back to him was even more incredible because, Ricochet is smaller.
yeah, he's not known as a power guy, right? Like, Ricochet is known to be like flippy and all that shit.
But no, dude's got some power too. So it's like, and it's all the other thing that's great too is seeing Ricochet do his thing, man. Like, actually do his thing. I think he's been showcased more in the past 2 months now, right? Than he was oh man, I hate to say, than his whole time in WWE.
I mean, if we want to break it down, we could break it down. He debuts at AEW's like second biggest show, like ever, right? All in.
Right.
Second biggest show he debuts. He immediately gets thrusted into a program with Ospreay. Immediately. Right. What people expected to happen, even I said on this podcast, like, we'll give it a couple months, we'll just let them do a thing. Immediately they got their thing, which transitioned to Takeshita. All this for the international championship, by the way. While he's doing this, he goes to Canada and is in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling attacking attacking Takeshita. He goes to Japan as a surprise at King of Pro Wrestling and attacks Zack Sabre Jr. and challenges him for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, while the Japanese crowd was Ricochet. They were going crazy for Ricochet in there.
Yeah.
Then he comes back, has these kind of crazy matches, right? It's most likely going to be in the Continental Classic. Like, yeah, in the last couple months, he's been featured as like a main player. How many times has that really happened in WWE? Like, not a lot. Not many times I can remember.
Yeah.
He's been a champion there too, sure, but it's nothing like this.
Yep. So I really like seeing it, and I just think like it's just sky's the limit for this guy. Plus, he's gonna. Okay, if you don't think he's gonna be in the G1 next year, you're out of your fucking mind. He's gonna be in the G1.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely gonna be the AEW guy, right? He went to Japan out of nowhere, and is wrestling Zack Sabre Jr. at Wrestle Dynasty, which is most likely going to be the main event of Wrestle Dynasty. So, yeah, we gonna see Ricochet in New Japan a lot more.
Right, and which also makes sense why why he's going for the international title. You know, these last two guys, like the last three guys, right? They all could travel. They could travel, go to Japan, have matches in Japan, and everywhere else. Especially Takeshita. Takeshita is on a fucking mission to go everywhere and defend the title, the international title.
Yeah, bro.
To make it a true, it's the actual true world championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going around the world defending this title, but he's gonna be doing that, and then when Ricochet gets it, Ricochet is gonna be doing that. So it's just, oh man. The international championship picture, just in general, is like a second world title picture.
I mean, the guys recently in it were Ricochet, Ospreay, and Takeshita, right? Those are, if you want to break them down into like scenes, like people do, they're all three of them easily could be main eventers. They easily could headline pay-per-views, like easily. Like that's not up for debate. If you don't agree with that, you don't know wrestling at this point. Like that's just how it is.
If you don't agree with that, you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Like all three of them are bona fide main eventers. They easily can do it. They easily can carry a brand. They easily can carry a show. But they're all feuding for a national championship, which, granted, might as well be the world championship at this point because we haven't even seen the world championship in like a month and a half.
Right.
So, like, whatever.
I think like just in general, the talk about the match, Takeshita won, of course, and again, no interference. And him and Ricochet just had a war, man. They just had a damn war. Like I said, I know they got a ton left in the tank for round 2. This ain't over. This is for sure not over, because Ricochet, he's even said in his interviews and things like that, he wants that international championship, and that's his goal right now. So this ain't over.
He's gonna be a national champion next year, like for sure. Right.
Yep, for sure.
But that's really it. I don't really have a lot to say about the match. The match was great. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to break down a match between Takeshita and Ricochet because they were going crazy, right? Like Ricochet was doing 450s everywhere. Takeshita was powering Ricochet over everything. Like it was a great match. It was a nice like match of styles. Ricochet showed that he's not just a flippy guy. He was doing power stuff too. Like it was really good.
Yep.
That's it. You have any final thoughts on Fullgear before we transition to getting out of here?
All right. I'm just going to say this. Fullgear was, top to bottom, damn good show. Damn good show. Definitely worth the money I spent to watch it. And it's definitely worth the watch. So, you guys get a chance, get in there and, get in there and watch it. It was a great show from top to bottom.
Yeah, I agree. it was a fantastic show. I still am kind of surprised that we got like no interference, and the only return we got was Willow throughout this entire night. But like we said earlier, I think that shows like just the strength of the roster, right? Everyone was trying to show out. Everyone's doing what they could do. Like a lot of stories are going to be progressed at this point, but everything right now is low key, kind of on a standstill. We'll get a couple stories here and there for sure, but we're going to Continental Classic season. That's where we are right now. And if y'all remember Continental Classic last year, we had some story stuff around everything, but the main draw of the next couple of weeks, next like 6 weeks or whatever, tournament style wrestling, baby. It's time. Let's go. I'm so ready.
And I think that's also why all the matches were clean.
Probably, right? Like, because Continental Classic, you can't interfere. Like all those matches, right. they're prepping you to get ready for Continental Classic. No interference. You can't do that.
Yep.
But that's it, man. I'm going to be talking for a second while I am looking up the bracket because it's at this point for us. Spoiler alert for anyone who will hear this. It is now 4 p.m. on Sunday, 4:03 to be exact. And I'm looking around, and I still do not see Selection Sunday. I see nothing for the Continental Classic. They're based in Jacksonville. It is 7 o'clock over there right now. 7 p.m. Why don't we have the brackets yet? Yeah, we really don't have the brackets. They're still not out yet. Well, I'm gonna do one more check while we're doing this, just to see if we get anything anywhere. I'm not on Twitter, so I can't see Twitter. But if it was on Twitter, we would have been able to see it by now. It's not on YouTube. It's not in Blue Sky. Google. Anything in Google? No. We don't have a time for this. I don't know what's happening. Are they taping it and just gonna put it out? What is happening? Yeah, no, nothing. It's not here.
Jeez, man. It's kind of crazy. I thought that would have been out already.
I thought so too. Like, I gave the time and everything. It's 7 o'clock on the East Coast. If I feel like the shit's not coming out, or they're gonna wait until we give our goodbyes and they're gonna put it out. That's probably what's gonna happen.
TK is like, damn, are they done yet?
Like, we're recording this. I don't even know how I can see us. Like, I know he's a billionaire. He probably has Skynet looking at us right now. But the fact that we're on here before the podcast, for all transparency, we fully expected to stop in the middle of it to talk about the Continental Classic. We've gone on. This is probably one of our longer podcasts at this point now. And we still don't have the bracket. There's not even a video set up on their YouTube for it. Literally nothing.
Nope.
You know what? We're done. Profit, you have any other final thoughts on Fullgear before we wrap this? Because AEW.
AEW. I'm telling you, in about 20 minutes they're gonna put that shit out. We'll be right back on.
God bless. Probably that's probably what's gonna happen.
No, I don't have anything else, man.
All right, man. As much as I don't want to say this, because I know the second that I turn this recording off, we're gonna get the Continental Classic. Take us home.
All right, guys. If you got this far, well, hell, you guys are awesome. Thank you very much to our new subscribers. Thank you to the new subscribers that subscribed. If you guys that haven't subscribed yet, you know what you got to do. Click that subscribe button, hit the bell. So that way you can get all of our content as it comes out. And yeah. Also, if you like anything that we talked about and, want to voice your opinion about like some of the matches that you liked, what your match of the night was, or anything like that, put it in the comment section. We'll for sure answer back to you. and you know, have a good old conversation about it. So once again, thank you guys for listening, and you know what I'm about to say. We're out.
Peace.